99.9% of society accepts the mediocre. They accept average. And for this reason alone, this is why we live in a society full of depression, and we live in a society full with people that are just unfulfilled. What's up, guys? My name is Miguel, and what I want to do in this video is I want to start diving deep into the concept of self-belief. I recently started watching this documentary by Kanye West. It's a really good documentary. It's called Genius. It's on Netflix. Check it out if you have some time. And what I started seeing in this is there's a very prominent habit that I see time and time again in a lot of successful people. But this was showcased a lot more in this documentary. And when I started watching it, at the very beginning, it's actually somewhat paradoxical, or it's very difficult to imagine somebody so successful being ignored and being neglected at the very front. It's not very often that you get to see the come up of somebody that's already in the headlines. And when I started seeing this, it was very eye-opening for me, and it was just so inspiring at the same time, because I kept on seeing that despite all the rejection, despite all the neglect, and despite all the negative attitude that was going towards him at the time, he stayed locked in and focused. There was nothing that he just had an unwavering amount of self-belief that it was very undeniable, or it was very difficult to believe that there was going to be any other result other than him being the star. So Kanye West not only knew the fact that self-belief was a very crucial part of his success, but he had a relentless work ethic that just wouldn't give up. So I believe that this combination alone is a deadly combination that separates the exceptional people from the average. And once you begin to understand this, and once you begin to see this, you begin to see that there's a lot more avenues and there's a lot more gas in the tank that you have left, but you're trying to save it for a later date. Either this is something that you've been told time and time again by relatives, by friends, by colleagues, by a bunch of other people, or maybe just society itself. You're told to stay in your lane time and time again. But what if I told you that the sooner you start taking action, and the sooner you start to develop a lot of the skills that you know you can develop, it's just a matter of time, it's just a matter of reps that you need to put in, and it's just a matter of work ethic, that you could actually begin to see the results that you've always been desiring. But the only thing that's holding you back, the only thing that's holding you from work ethic or from actually putting in those reps, is the fact that you have this ideal version of yourself that was implemented to you by society, that's kind of telling you that you should be okay with what you have right now, that you should conform to the status quo. So if Kanye West was to accept the status quo, he wouldn't be nearly as successful as he is today. Now, there's a huge debate that maybe his success is what made him insane, or maybe what made him crazy. I have absolutely no idea. But what I do know is that his work ethic and his progress is something that everybody should aspire to do. So begin to ask yourself, okay, well, what identity am I taking on from other people? What habits am I carrying with myself that are not necessarily helping me on a day-to-day basis to make that ideal version of myself a reality? Am I watching too much TV? Am I eating too much junk food? What is it exactly that's kind of holding you back, that's not helping you to actually progress forward? And then begin to replace those habits with something that's actually going to be a little bit more productive. Maybe it can be writing on a day-to-day basis. It could be meditating daily. It could be something as simple as starting a new vlog, starting something new. But the thing is that we're not allowing ourselves to even have that creative expression, because we're being told constantly that we should be more realistic. So if you're more realistic, begin to understand that the faster you accept that, the more mediocre your life is going to look in the long run. Now, I'm not trying to knock on a lot of people that are living a 9 to 5. I'm working a 9 to 5 right now, so I have no reason at all to actually look down on anybody, because I'm in that situation myself. But what I begin to understand is that if I don't actually take it upon myself to make a difference, and not just keep on living the same life over and over again, the same day over and over again, I'm never going to actually create anything different, and I'm not going to be able to create anything substantial. So the exercise, or the thing that helped me the most understand this and to begin to implement it on a day-to-day basis, is to simply sit down, write down the expressions that I had of myself, the way I view myself, and the way that I think others view myself. And then I became looking at an action plan, and I created a little system that gave me the habits that I need, or the tasks that I need to accomplish on a daily basis, in order to start segregating myself from that realistic version of myself to the ideal version of myself, to the one that I see successful within my mind. So the first step, inject the most amount of self-belief that you can within yourself, even if it's synthetic. This is the one thing that you can do today without having to put any extra reps in, without having to do any extra work, or without having to prove anything to anybody. The amount of self-belief you have is gonna be the equivalent to the amount of success you allow yourself to receive. And finally, begin to audit your day and begin to add as many productive habits as you can to get you closer to that ideal, successful version of yourself. It was really nice talking to you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.